Hi everyone, welcome to the Coding Channel. Today is the 18th episode of our Java programming tutorial series. And in this episode, we are going to talk about how to build a random math quiz game in Java. This and more when we come back. Welcome back to the Source Code channel. Now here's the sample run of our source code for today, which is the random math quiz game. And let's try to answer this multiplication question. How much is 1 times 8? 8. Correct. How much is 8 times 2? 16. Right. How much is 9 times 6? 45. Incorrect. How much is 5 times 1? 5. Perfect. How much is 3 times 1? 3. Good job. How much is 5 times 0? 0. Correct. How much is 1 times 8? 8. Right. 8 times 3? 24. Perfect. How much is 0 times 2? 0. Correct. How much is 9 times 5? 45. Right. Okay, so your score is 9 over 10, 90%. Very good. So basically, the random math quiz game generates random numbers from 0 to 9 and then will prompt us to answer the 10 multiplication questions with the random correct and incorrect responses as we answer each question, and then calculates and prints the total score with the percentage and the remark as well. So if you're interested in learning how to build this random math quiz game, join me and let's get started. Now for us to generate random numbers, the first thing that we need to do is to instantiate an object from a random class by having this line of code random, which is under the java.util package. Don't forget to import this class. And then we have, for example, random is equal to new random. Okay, when we say instantiate, in other words, create, so we will have our new object, which is random, for us to generate our own version of random. Now, before we start building the random math quiz game, let me show you first the other possible ways on how we generate a random numbers, and actually not just random, but we have here, for example, if we want to generate either true or false here, so we can use the boolean. Okay, for example, we have the variable declaration boolean, and then we assign the random. This is the object name that we have created there. So random.next boolean, for example, and then we display the value, the n1. So let's try to run this one. Okay, so the first value there is true, and then if we run again, okay, it's true or either true or false. Okay, so that's what we can do with the next boolean here with the random statement. Okay, so aside from boolean, we can also use declare a float value here, okay, using a random.nextFloat, and then we assign to n1, for example, and then let's try to display. Okay, so as you can see, it generates numbers with decimal points. So these are random numbers actually. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 7 digits of decimal points. Okay, so that is float. Okay, now another way is to put here +2. Okay, meaning, okay, let's try to run. Okay, for you to see. Okay, meaning that we generate random numbers from 2.0000 to 2.9999. So something like that, negative and positive floating point values there. Okay, so that's the meaning of +2 here. Okay, meaning we start from 2. Okay, so let's try the negative here. Okay, if we start from negative 2, for example. Okay, so we have so possible, the smallest is negative 2 point something, and then now we have negative 1 there. Okay, or negative 1.4, negative 1.8, and so on. Okay, so that's how we use the random.next float. Aside from that, we can also make use of next double here, random.next double. Okay, so if you are going to run, the only difference is the number of decimal points here. Of course, we are talking of billions here already, from 0.00000 to 99999. Okay. And just like what we did with the float, we can also, for example, modify the starting. Okay. So if, for example, we have positive 100 here. So meaning that, okay, we start from 100 point something. Okay. If you're going to display it in a random. Okay. That's also what we can do with double. Next is we have for the whole number, we have the long. Okay, so for example, we want to generate a long here using next long. So from negative to, okay, you can also positive. Okay, so things like that. That is long. And then if we want also now to generate the integers, okay, for example, we have nextInt, and then we assign random that nextInt we assign to integer variable n1, and then we display, okay, and then run again. So we can have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 digits of positive or negative integers. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so okay. Now, using random.nextInt, we can specify here, for example, actually only the nextInt, okay, only this nextInt method where we can just specify the range here. Let's say 10, meaning the possible numbers is from 0 to 9. That's 10 numbers from 0 to 9. Okay, so for example, so the okay, it's either 9 or it's either 6. Okay, so the possible numbers that can be printed here is from 0 to 9, not including 10, because if you include 10, that's already 11. So if you want to include 10, so make it a point. Okay, we have here 11, meaning from 0 to 10. There's a possibility that 10 will be displayed here in random. Okay, so something like that. And also, what if you don't want to start from 0? You want, for example, to the smallest value that can be displayed here is, for example, 1. So if we start from 1, if the smallest value is 1, that means that and then we have here the range is 10. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, including 10. So that's why we have here 10. Not including 0 anymore, since we start from 1. Okay, for you to better understand that, let's try this another example here. For example, random not next int 3 plus 9. So meaning there are 3 possible numbers, okay, that we can display here, and the smallest is 9. So either we're expecting of 9 or 10 or 11. Okay, let's try to run this one. So 11 or 11 again, or 9 or 10. Okay, and I hope this topic is clear to you now. Okay, so let's try now to start building our random math quiz game. Okay, now the first thing again is, since we are talking of random here, so we have the random. We need to instantiate the random class. So random is equal to new random, and then semicolon, and then just don't forget to import the random using java.util.random. And since we are using the scanner, so we are going to have the scanner here. For example, scanner, let me use the keyboard. Keyboard is equal to a new scanner. Okay, so we instantiate this scanner class for us to have a new object, and by using the keyboard we can use now or access now the built-in methods of scanner class. So that's the essence of why we do this lines of code. And same with random, the scanner is also from java.util, so we need to import that, so don't forget about it. Okay, so that's the first step. Okay, so let me try to run again. this one, so that we have a guide here. Okay, so 9 times 2, for example, we have 18. 6 times 4, okay, we have 24. We have 8, and then 9, 16, and then 34, 0, 45, 7, and then 20. Okay, correct. Okay, now, so the first thing is we need to display this 1. Okay, so that is possible since this one is not part of the loop, so we can just simply print that one by using the system.out.print, for example, random math quiz game, and then multiplication, and then this equal sign there. Okay, and then the next is how are we going to generate questions here, or even the random numbers? So we will be needing variables. Okay, so for example, we have the variable declaration. Let's try to have the variable declarations here. Okay, so we will be needing 2 variables for to hold random numbers for the first digit and the second digit, and that is an integer. So let's try to have a digit, for example, digit 1. Okay, let's try to build it separately. So I mean int digit 2. Okay, so that's it. Int digit 1, int digit 2. Okay, next we will be needing also the variable that holds the question. Okay, so let's try, that is a string. So for example, question, and let's just try to initialize it to empty string first. Okay, so how much is, like something like that. And then once the user have entered the answer, so most probably we will be having the integer variable for that, and that is user answer. And for us to compare the user answer to the correct answer, so we will also be needing the correct answer variable. Okay, so that we can compare later. We have correct answer. Now we have user answer. We have the string question, for example, and then also for the response, since we have here random responses, so that is okay, string. So string response, then we just initialize it again to also to an empty string. Okay, so far that is the okay, what else? Down here we have score. Okay, we have score, and then the percentage, for example, and then the other remarks here. Okay, so let's try to declare, for example, int score. Okay, and then let's try to have a max loop, so that every time we for example, in our loop later, if we want to have a 50 to 100 questions, so it's a very easy for us to modify the program, okay, by just changing the value of max loop, and then the rest will follow. Okay, so okay, so that's it. Since as you can see now, the order, okay, we have after printing, the next thing that we need to do is to generate questions. But take note that the question keeps on repeating, okay, 10 times. So we it's a fixed number of repetition, right? So we can use the for loop here. So for example, I have here counter, or in counter is equal to 1, and then counter is less than or equal to, I'll be using the max loop here. Okay, okay, so that we can just modify it later. So for this sake of this you know, for us to this could be easy for us to somehow test, so we just limit it to 10, but we can actually make it 100 or thousands if we want to. Okay, so counter plus plus, for example. Okay, and then Here we go. So let's try to have this one is end of for loop. Okay. So every time you create your class, make sure to have a proper what do you call this, comments, okay, for us to have a user-friendly code. Okay. And then next, what is next? Okay, we are now on the inside of our for loop. So before we can generate the how much is, because this one is part of the question, right? Because before it's like a puzzle, so we need to generate first the random numbers. Okay, this one, 2 digits. So we can now use the digit 1 and digit 2 here. So for example, digit 1 is equal to, since we use now the random class, so is equal to random dot nextInt. Okay. And then since we limit this one single digit from 0 to 9, so we will be using here, let's say 10. Okay, just for us to have. So digit 1 now can have a value from 0 to 9. And then we will just have to copy and then paste it here. Okay, so we have now the digit 2 random dot next int. Okay, and then next we have since we already have the random number, so we can now complete the question. So we have to assign here, for example, question is equal to we have counter first here. Okay, because counter varies from 1 to 10. So for this one, 1 to 10. So counter plus, and then we have the dot there, and then let's put a space, for example, there, and then how much is colon, and then for the let's say 9, so we will use the digit 1. Okay, plus the asterisk. Okay, plus the digit 2, and then plus the string concatenation. We will be needing the equal sign. Okay, so that's it, and then the semicolon here. Okay, that's our question. So far, after generating now the question, we have the question. The next thing is the correct answer. Okay, so we will use the variable correct answer there. So correct answer is equal to what? So let's try to digit 1 times digit 2. Okay, digit 1 times digit 2. Okay, after getting now the correct answer, so it's about time to display now this one. How are we going to display? System.out.print. Okay, for example, question. We will now print the question here. Okay, and at the same time, after printing the question, we are now going to get the user input. Okay, how are we going to do that? So we will assign the user input or user answer. The user answer is equal to keyboard. Why keyboard? Keyboard is our object instantiated from the scanner class. Okay, so keyboard for us to access the next int method of scanner class. Okay, so that's it. We get the user input now. It's already in the user answer, and also we get the correct answer now stored in a correct answer. So I think we are now ready to compare. Okay, so if user answer is equal to a correct answer, what are we going to do? Okay, for example, this one is okay. If user answer is equal to correct answer, take note there is a random correct response here if it is correct. Okay, so how are we going to do that? We can use a switch here. Okay, switch, and then we can put directly the random expression here. For example, we have random dot next int, for example. Let's say we have we have four random and correct responses, for example. So let's try to have a four. So four, and then we start from one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the possible case values. Okay, so we can just have now case 1. What are we going to do? We will display, for example, or we will assign first, so that we will have only one output statement. Okay, we can actually display the output here, but every time I do the program, I want the output statement as much as possible at the bottom part of my program, so that I can only have at least a few number of output statements. So if you want to follow that, you can also follow what my logic here, which is just to assign first. So my response here is that, for example, if it is correct, so we can say now perfect. Okay, so perfect. We have here the 2, 3, 4, 5, for example, and then perfect. Okay, that's it. And then don't forget to put a break. Okay, you just have to copy this one. Okay, case 2, just have to, okay, for case 2, for example, if the result of this random statement is 2, so for example, we have a correct. Okay, or else, aside from that, if the case value is a 3, so we can put here, for example, right. Okay, and then another, if it's a case of 4, you can put here, for example, correct. What's it? Good job. Okay, so that's it. Okay, we have space here, for example. Okay, right, and that's it. Okay, what about, what if the response, the user answer is wrong? So we can have here else, 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 and what? You can also use this switch now. Else, okay, you can have also another switch here. Okay, same one, case 1, 2, 4. Okay, and then the response is let's say wrong. Okay, what else? Not right or incorrect. Okay, not right. Mistaken, for example. Okay, that's it. We have, and then after this response, we will now print the we will go out of this. This one is okay, we have switch, we have else here. Okay, here we will now display the response. System.out.print, for example, we have response. Okay, that's it. Response. So let's try to run our code now. Okay, so run the math quiz game. Multiplication. How much is 9 times 6? For example, 7. Okay, wrong. and then 2. So after here, we have the wrong. Okay, let's try. Try the print ln. Okay, 4 times, okay, 0 times 2, 0. Perfect. Okay, so 9 times 2, 18. Good job. 9 times 3, 27. Perfect. 6 times 8, for example, 42. Incorrect. 7 times 5, 35. Perfect. 1 times 9, 9. 0 times 6 is 0. 3 times 6, 24. Incorrect. 8 times 2, 16. Okay, and then 0. Okay, perfect. So that's it. We already have the random response for both correct and incorrect. What is lacking now here is the final output. Okay, and we're going to calculate now the result. So we will put, for example, here our uh, output. Okay, and then your score is score plus div max loop is equal sign. Okay, the score, what is the score now? How do we get the score? Okay, your score is 5 out of. Okay, before that, before printing the score, so we need to increment the value of a score every time that we got the correct answer here. So where are we going to put that one? So most probably here. Okay, every time we got the correct response, so we have the score plus plus here. Okay, every time it's correct. And then the max loop that we are using is this one, so that we have, for example, 8 over 10. So 8 over 10, and then that's it. And then we will print the percentage, for example. Okay, so let's try. Okay, now to get the percentage, for example, we have we will be needing the percentage variable here. So percentage. Okay, let's try percentage there, and then we will have here percentage is equal to, how do we get the percentage? For example, if the result is 8 over 10, so that is equal to 80%. So we will be using the score here, score divided by max loop. After we divide it, and then we multiply to 100, whatever the result, for example, so we get the percentage. And then let's try this one. I'm not sure about this. Okay, and I'll explain to you. Okay, I want you to see this one is partially correct. Okay, but normally this is what we think. Okay, we print the percentage, for example, and then let's try system that out that, or should I say print here, print, and then print ln, for example here. I'll just have to use just the percent sign. Okay, percent sign here. Okay, so let's try to run, and let me limit first to 3 so that we can save time. Okay, just for checking. Oh, there's an error. Okay, unresolved compilation, the local variable score may not have been initialized. Okay, so be careful about this. Okay, that's it. That's the first thing. Before we can use here, better to initialize the value. Okay, again, run. Okay, so how much is 3 times 0? For example, 0. That's correct. 6, 12, 18. 18. Good job. 8 times 4, for example, wrong. Incorrect. So we have 2 over 3, and the answer is not equal. Supposed to be it's not a 0. So why it is 0? Okay, let's try to analyze. The score, we declare score, percentage, and max loop to what? We declare it integer, whole number. So we will have the result of this must be double, because if you, for example, if we divide 2 divided by 3, so there's a decimal point, and we cannot change the double the score here because we declare it integer. Okay, and how are we going to do that? So we can there's a way in Java, we call it casting. Okay, so to temporarily convert this variable, this integer variable, to double. And how are we going to do that? Okay, by just putting double there, and also a double here, since we will be needing that one, double the max loop. Okay, let's try, and then we assign to percentage whatever the result. Okay, so let's try. Okay, now unresolved compilation problem. So since we cast this one, okay, so we will change now the percentage to double, since we are trying to assign this one to double. Let's try. Okay, 8 times 3, 8, 16, 24, right? 6 times 2, 12, 0. Okay, so since we have now the result 100.0%, okay, if we are right. Okay, now the problem is the 0.0% there. Okay, we just want to have 100%. Okay, now we will try to insert here. Okay, we will omit the 0. How are we going to do that in Java? Okay, we will use the printf instead of println here, and then we will just have a percent d, for example. Okay, or this one. Sorry, I'll just delete this, and we will just use printf instead of println, and then I'll just insert here the percent sign, and then floating point, so f, and then without decimal point, so point 0 f, comma. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, it means that no decimal point. Okay, and then the floating point, we are trying to display the percentage without no decimal point, so using printf. Let's try. Okay, 8 times 8, for example, 64. Good job. 9 times 0, 0. 9 times 9, 81. Right, 3 over 3. Okay, this one. So let's try another one more try. Let's try this 10. Okay, final one. Okay, how much is 9 times 8? We don't know, for example. So 78, and then 9. 9 times 7, I also don't know, for example. It's mistaken. 6 times 1 is 6. 9 times 5 is 45. 3 times 4 is, for example, 8, 12. Sorry, 12. 8, 6, and 24. Correct. 7 for 21. 6 times 7, for example, wrong. 6 times 9, also wrong. Okay, so we got 6 over 10. Here, 60%. Okay. Let's try. How many wrong we have? 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 3, and then 4. Okay, so we are correct. Now, the last part is the what? We have the, for example, for 60, if it's fair, or you pass, or you fail. So you can just add here another switch, for example. Okay, switch what? Or switch what? Switch, or just an if statement here. Let's try. For example, if the score, yeah, we can use switch here. Okay, let's try to. Okay, so switch, for example, switch score. Okay, so it could be easy for us. Switch score. Okay, and then we have a case, for example, case 100. Okay, if it's 100, so our response here is what? Response, for example, here is excellent. Okay, excellent. And then we have a break also. Okay, case 100. If it is 90, for example, that's the possible here. 90, the response is, for example, very good. Okay, I'm sorry, very good. And then, I'm sorry. So case 80. Okay, that is under good category. Okay, and then for example, case 70. That is fair. Okay, and then a case 60. That is let's say you passing grade. Okay, you pass. And then 50 below. Okay, you can use a default here, for example, and the response is you failed. You failed, and then try again. Try again. Try again. Okay, and the break here is not required since we are using default, and this is now the last statement here before we end the main. Okay, and the last part is, of course, we need to display. So system.out println display what? The response here. Okay, let's try. How much is 4 times 5? Here, 6 times 6. Okay, 36. Good job. 1 times 0, 0. 8 times 9, I don't know. For example, 4 times 1, 4. 7 times 1, 7. 5 times 6 is 30. And then 6 times 2, 12. 4 times 4, 16. And the 7 times 2, 14. 8 times 6, okay, 5. We got 8 over 10. Why you failed, and then try again. The response 8 over 10. But why you failed, and try again. It's a score. Okay, this is a good error, okay, for us to see that why we put a case 100 here. Okay, because we only have either the score here is either 10, okay, or 9 or 8, okay, or 7 or 6. Okay, that's it. Okay, let me try. Here we go. 5 times 4, 20. 6 times 5 is 30. And then 0. And then 8. Okay, 7 times 4. Okay, let's say wrong. And then 7. And then 4. 32, for example. And then we have 5. And then 8. Okay, so we have now 7 over 10. And that is fair. Okay, 70. So that's all. That's our source code for this episode. I hope you've learned something on how to generate random numbers, and at the same time how to generate random strings also by using the random, with integer values, and at the same time the casting. This one is very important in displaying the percentage. Okay, so that's all. And that's all for today. And if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And as always, show your love through comments and favorites. God bless and thank you for watching.